Hey, Capn'John here, and I'm going to make a video about trying to replace the grips on a 2015 BMW. It's a R1200 RT, and I'm going to make this because most of the other videos on YouTube that are doing this are older models, and they don't have the controller. They're heated grips, but they don't have the multi-use controller. These grips were really in bad shape, and you can see that I covered the old grips with duct tape just to get rid of the stickiness until I got these new grips ordered in. So the grips that I ordered, similar to other videos, are these Ariete. They're an Italian company that makes grips for all sorts of different models, but the BMW models, prior to 2013, the grips were this 02624, but just the L model, whereas the LN is for newer models from 2014 onward that have the controller on the side. And they come in one pair, so they're good for both sides, and this is the throttle side. But if you look closely, for the left or the controller side, it is slightly offset. And I guess I really never did notice that before, but it's offset, so that might be tricky getting on, but we're obviously going to give it a shot. These grips are for all, as I said, newer 2014 BMWs, for the F models, the R models, and the K models. So hopefully it's not that big a deal. I'm going to try to attack the throttle side first. I have K-lock ends that will be needed to be removed first. So there you go. So for anyone that has these lid lock helmet locks on the end of their grips, it took me quite a while to find exactly what they are and how to get them off. So this is a 2-for-1 tutorial. I'll show you quickly. First of all, there is a set screw on the bottom that you have to loosen. So we'll just loosen this set screw. It doesn't have to be screwed out all the way. It just locks the outer locking mechanism. Once the set screw is unlocked, they have these keys that pop out your locking mechanism. But as mentioned on the Lid Lock's website, if you don't screw them in all the way, this is not a torque wrench, you just barely put them in, and it goes in the slot, and the outer section of this unscrews. Once you have the locking mechanism out, BMW in the end of their handlebars has a 6mm hex screw that tightens up the handlebar butt end, and you just unscrew that and take it off. There's the built-in butt end screw for any end of the handlebar, whether it's just the BMW handlebar butt end or whatever kind of butt end you have on it. So here's the sketchiest part of the whole deal, is trying to remove the old BMW grip, and I've been told to cut it off at an angle and work it off without trying to damage the heating element underneath. These grips are in really sticky bad shape, so we'll see how it goes. Wish me luck. First really shallow cut seemed to come off relatively easily, so I'm just going to keep trying to peel it back. the initial cut, and then I worked my way down towards the end. Seemed to work pretty well. You can see how the old grips are indented with the heating element, so I don't know how hard that's going to be to try to squeeze on the new ones, but I'll keep progressing. Now, the original BMW grip had this plastic extension off the grip that fit right in this slot and went in, and I'm not really sure what it's for, but I'm going to try and take it off and remount it before I put the replacement grip on it. You can see it kind of goes right into that little area there. I'm not sure what it's for. Whether it has something to do with electronic throttle or the cruise control or whatever, I really don't know. After looking at this further, I think this is just a cover for the electric leads for the heating elements. I don't think it's really meant to do anything more than just to cover those electric leads. I'm not sure if this will focus or not, but I slid it back in and it just covered up the leads, and it did sit on a little plastic pin in a hole, so I think that's all that that does, because the whole thing rotates with the handle. So from here on out, I guess I'm going to try to slip on the new grip. So that actually came off pretty easy from the other instructional videos that I've watched. To try and lubricate the grip to slide it on, most of the videos call for hairspray. I do have a bonding adhesive, but I don't think I want to use that in case I ever need to get it off again. Most of the hairsprays used were aerosols in a can. My wife just happened to have some hairspray with a firm finish, which not only lubricates to help get it on, but then also after an hour or so, it tends to help set the grip to the heated handbar. So I'm going to spray this down and slip it on. The only other hooker that I see on these Ariete grips is there is an up arrow that does have a slot, and there really doesn't seem to be anything that it fits into, so I'm going to mark it with chalk so that I'm guessing up. So I try to get it in the right area, but I don't really think that it matters, so we'll see. So I just kind of marked this up position with a little dab of chalk, because I didn't want to make anything permanent. That way the chalk will wash out, and that at least I'll remember which way is up. And the rest of this grip on the inside looks smooth, even though on the end of the original BMW there's little knobs and whatnot, but hopefully it just fits right up. You can see the original BMW grip on the inside. Whoops, and the inside did have ridged areas for those knobs and whatnot. So even though the Ariete website guarantees authenticity, it's not quite perfect because it has a smooth inside, whereas this BMW grip does have areas for the notches on the handlebars, but I don't think it matters. Once the grip is set, we'll see. See how this works. I really don't want to get it too thoroughly wet, but that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to spray the inside of this. So it slid on pretty easily. It was a little hard initially to get it over the end and the bumps. and then push it up over the area here, but it slid on pretty easily. You can see there's ever so slightly bumpy imperfections from the heated elements. Look like they had tabs on it. In the old grips they had holes, so it fits pretty well. The L model that isn't made for multi-controllers was 123 millimeters, and these grips are 121. Even though I measured it, these grips were really more like 123. So it doesn't quite, if you push it all the way up to make it look better, it doesn't quite fit over the end where these bumps were, but I'd rather have a space here with my lid locks cap on than have a bigger space up here. So all in all, the slight bumpiness, it is what it is, but the grip is a vast improvement over the old crummy sticky one. So I'll put the end back on and we'll see how it looks. So all in all, not too bad. There's a bigger space here than there used to be. But I don't think it's really going to matter at all. It shouldn't make any difference. And this is not screwed in all the way yet. Okay, so now we're going to try the left or the clutch side or the controller side, which should be the same procedure. With the exception, it might be a little trickier to get started because this is kind of underneath the wheel, and I'm going to have to pull it out somehow. But the last one cut off pretty easily, so we'll see how this one goes. So this left side or controller side was really even worse because it was really sticky even before I pulled the tape off, but you can barely see that it had separated from the heating element because it was all bubbled and whatnot, so this side really needed to be replaced. The hardest part is really going to be making the initial cut somehow to get behind the controller. And I see the controller only toggles sideways, so I might have to make the first cut here and pull it off. So we'll see. Pull it with some pliers. That's what I did last time. It seemed to work. Pretty nasty. So same thing, I marked the upside with a little dab of chalk, and there's some pretty big fittings here to go over the set screws, and on the bottom this tab, which I'm not sure exactly what it's for. It probably mounts this outer piece, but the real hooker with it's going to be spinning this outer flange so it fits correctly on the controller. So that will be the main part. So I'm just going to spray this down as before and spray this and try to slip it on. This one actually slipped on a little easier because there weren't the notches on the other different type of heating grip. It was more like a wired coil, so as not to disturb the coil, I twisted it on as I pushed it on, and then as I got near the top, I set this flange kind of as best as I could towards the controller, and the controller seems to be freewheeling easily and then even pulling out, so it looks like a pretty good set. I also like the distance on this seemed to fit the end a little better, probably because of this controller. The original set a little deeper in the controller, but I'm not going to mess with it. I'm going to leave it where it is because it's freewheeling and it seems to be working. So boing, looking good. So here's the finished product. Came out pretty slick. Supposedly you have to let the hair dry, the hairspray dry for at least an hour, maybe more. It's kind of rainy. I won't be taking her out today, but this is a project that anybody can do. If you need grips, I got these Ariete grips off of Amazon. They were 19 bucks and about $7 for shipping, so the total was around $26 versus looking at the BMW website. They don't sell the grips, they sell the whole unit, which is the heater underneath and the attachments. The controller side is like $135, but the throttle side, because it's an electronic throttle, runs about $360 just to replace the grip. So if I had a BMW mechanic doing it, it would be in excess of $600 just for a pair of stupid grips. So I am kind of handy, but I am definitely no mechanic. So if I can do this, guarantee anybody can do this. So hopefully this helps. It's a little bit updated. It's summer of 21, so this gives a more complete finish for anybody who has a newer model BMW that wants to replace their grips. Whew. Thanks for watching.